I became interested in glass art because of Dale Chihuly, who is a famous glassblower and artist. He works with a team of artists and glassblowers called Team Chihuly, which I someday hope to be on. Glass has been around since about 3,500 BCE. It is made from silica sand, calcium oxide, and sodium dioxide. It is heated to over 1,700 degrees Celsius, which causes it to become a liquid, runny substance, much like honey. So over the years, glass has been used for many different things, from windows to light bulbs. But most importantly, it has been used for glass art. And I have some pieces here. I made this piece.
Logan, sit down. Put your hand down.
And this.
Oh man!
I also made this bead. It's hard to see, but there will eventually be pictures of beads. So the process of glass blowing begins with clear glass melted in the glass melting furnace. And the glass inside is gathered. You can open this. It's like a door, and you can open it and you dip a blowpipe or a punty in. So blowpipes are hollow metal rods, and the glass is put on this end, and you blow with your mouth through this end. I'm sure people are thinking, if you breathe in, will you breathe in glass? No, because no person has enough suction in their mouth. They can't breathe in hard enough to make the glass go into the pipe. And so that is not a safety hazard. It will deflate your glass bubble, but so the blowpipes and punties are warmed in the pipe warmer. The pipe warmer, you set the pipes and punties along this. It has little metal ledges so that the pipes and punties can rest on it and not blow away. And there is flames that are making sure that the tips of the pipes, where the gas will be gathered onto, is warm enough that the glass will stick to it. Once you have taken a gather of glass, you can color it with frit. Frit is crushed up pieces of colored glass that once you've taken the gather, it can be rolled in them to create colors and designs. To make sure that the frit is embedded in the glass, it is rolled on the marver. The marver is a table, and its name originates in France, where it was originally used. It was originally made out of marble, and the French word for marble, I'm not sure, but as it got into English, as all French words do, they turn into something else easier to say. So this furnace is called the glory hole. The reason they have this furnace is because if you are working on your glass and it gets too cold, it'll break. It'll be hard, like this glass here. And if it is not cooled in the right way, it will break because it is cooled too quickly. Here on this picture, the yolk can be moved up and down depending on how high you need it to be. It is used at the glory hole to rest the pipe so it becomes a lever. So you do not, because you have to be constantly rolling it because it is so hot and it is like honey. If you just hold it, it will either drip off or you'll have a broken or deformed bowl or cup or goblet or any other piece. And sometimes that is wanted, but if you're making something like this and it's on the blowpipe, it's just going to go like that, and it wouldn't make a very beautiful snowman or ornament. So the yolk right here, to keep it the blowpipe spinning, there are, in this one, there are two discs that can rotate so your piece does not fall into the glory hole or anything else. When I made these pieces, since I was not actually taking the gathers or coloring it, the person helping me taking the gathers and coloring it had this on the blowpipe, and they used a yoke, so I would stand on one side of the yoke and I would blow into the blowpipe. So that way I wasn't close to the part with the glass. So this is a glass blower's bench. That glass blowers use it, they sit here, and because when you're, these are here because when you're sitting, if I'm sitting down and the blowpipe, it'll hit the floor. So they use these to roll the blowpipe on. So, I don't know how to show you this. Like this. They go more like this, or like this. So if this is the bar, they roll it like this. So it doesn't, it like the yoke, it makes it into a lever, so it's easier to hold without it dropping. There are tools on the bench. That's what the bench is usually used for. It has tools so the glass blower can sit down and use them. Tweezers. Tweezers are pointed, tong-like tools used to shape the glass and here, this is more of a circle, and this right here, these are jacks, and this end is flat. They're very much like tweezers, except there's more of a pointed tip. It does not go out, it is pointed. Jacks were probably used, this was originally one bubble. Jacks were probably used to shape it into the two bubbles. These are waffle crimps. There are other kinds of crimps that don't have almost waffle maker like qualities about them. They're used to mold the glass, and but not always. They are also used to, although this flower here it is pinched and it was pulled. It was probably done by tweezers, but on bigger pieces, you could have used crimps to pull out the petals of the flower. So, yes, this one actually. This one may have been used, you could have used the corner of the crimps to pull out the petals of the flower. The block. The block is a wooden cup-like tool that is used to shape the glass into spheres, ovoids, and ellipsoids. So this ornament could have used the block. They could have used the block to shape this. And the snowman, the other pieces were probably used, the block was probably used in that. All the wooden tools, because you're probably thinking to yourselves, why are these not on fire? Well, the reason is they're all soaked in water at the bench. So all the glass blower has to do is rolling the pipe, grabs, oh, okay, block, just keeps rolling it. And they're all in a bucket of water, so that they do not catch on fire. Because that would be a fire hazard. This right here is wet newspaper. Yeah, again, you're probably thinking to yourselves, how is that not on fire? But it is very, not only very thick layers of newspaper, but it is soaked in water. And what I really like about the newspaper is that it lets you do more, you can almost feel the glass without the risk of burning your fingers off. The paddle. The paddle is a flat wooden tool that is used to smooth the glass, and I don't know if it does anything else. I think it's mainly smoothing, maybe opening up the mouth of a cup or bowl. This is a puffer, or Sylvia, but I like to call it a puffer because that's an easier name. It is used to cool the piece. It's hollow right here, and it has a cone shape, and air is shot through it, so to cool your piece. And I believe this cone shape is here, so you do not, when you're holding it, you do not get your hand too close. And duckbill shears. On the top are diamond shears. On the bottom are duckbill shears. I like diamond shears because they may look very oddly shaped, but they're actually very helpful because they're a special kind of scissors that the duckbill shears, when they cut in a line. They are usually used for the mouth of a bowl or goblet, to cut that part, because the diamond shears are used to cut. They can take this part of the glass and cut it straight. They go around it and cut it off to a point, which I think is a genius invention that should be employed in other forms of cutting things. So earlier when I said you needed to reheat the glass, and if you didn't, your glass would break, well, this is a special oven called the annealing oven. It is used in all hot glass work. Hot glass work is flame working or lamp working, just two names for one thing. Glass blowing, glass working, anything where you're heating the glass up and it needs to be cooled down again. So once the glass has hit about 1,000 degrees, which if a glass blower's talking to you. That's actually kind of cold right there. 1,000 degrees, kind of cold. It's cooled about 1,000 from when it was in the glory hole. I mean, not the glory hole, the glass melting furnace. Oh, I'm getting my furnaces confused. So you put your piece in this part right here, and over the span of about 12 hours, it cools it down from about, it cools your piece down from about 9,000 degrees, not 9,000, 900, and to room temperature. So I can hold this and not burn my fingers off. Now on to lamp working, or flame working. I prefer flame working. When lamp working, it is advisable to wear safety glasses with dichromatic lenses to protect your eyes from ultraviolet and okay, just let's stick with radiation rays coming off of the glass and the flame. So the process of flame working begins with glass rods heated over a blowtorch, and the flame is very hot, but it's very concentrated. So when I was making this bead, if the flame came out right here, you could put your hands right here, because the heat of the flame was so concentrated that you could get closer to it than just a regular fire, for instance. And that's, I think, interesting. So once you have heated up the tip of your glass rod, you have two options. You can either make an animal or another object, or you can make a bead like I did. And to make a bead, you use something called a mandrel, which is these rods in this picture are mandrels. And they're covered in something called, I believe, bead release, so that your bead does not stick to it when it cools. When you are attaching the glass rod to the mandrel, you need to heat up the mandrel as well. So, like with the blowpipes and punties, it sticks. If you're making a small animal or other object, you need to heat up the other glass rod you're using. Because when you're making, I saw someone make a mouse, and they only use glass rods. They use some tools to pull out the nose or the ears, but besides that, they only use glass rods. So, glass working. In glass working, like glass blowing, the glass is heated to extreme temperatures, and so it becomes runny and liquidy. But unlike glass blowing, it is not blown into. They're simply using punties, just metal rods, and glass. This flower was probably glass worked, because if you see, it probably didn't need to be glass blown. Sometimes even open things like cups are glass blown to create the cup part of it, but you can also glass work things like this. Like flame working and glass blowing, it must be put in the annealing oven. I cannot stress this enough. I've seen videos. After 8 minutes, there was a cup and it broke. After 8 minutes out of the annealing oven. It hadn't gone in the annealing oven at all. So, Chihuly. Chihuly is the reason I got into glass art. So, the reason I got into Chihuly was every day when we drive to school, inside of a bus stop, there was a poster for a Chihuly exhibit. And I thought to myself, Chihuly, who is he? I wonder who he is. And eventually, after a long, long time, we got around to seeing the exhibit. And I was blown away by the beauty of his pieces. Here are some of the sketches he does. And here, look, he's using the paddles in this beautiful, amazing, gigantic pieces. He does these huge pieces. He installs them out in the world, and it's just amazing. It blew me away, as I hope it does to you. After that, I really got into Chihuly. I started looking at his art more. This is, and I don't know for sure, but this is what I saw the most, and I think it might be his signature piece. Maybe. Just maybe. I'm not the judge of that, but I'm hoping it is, because it's really amazing. Each of those pieces is hand-blown. Each individual piece, each individual curly part of that. And it's transported so far. He works in Seattle, and we saw a piece, I don't know, half an hour, maybe a little longer away. Maybe an hour. And so it really inspired me. And so I sent him a letter. I put in a sketch. This was a very long time ago. But a couple months later, we got a package. It was from Seattle, and we were on vacation, and we didn't know anyone in Seattle, and it had arrived at our house. We were like, okay, maybe it's one of my mom's internet friends. But we're like, okay, maybe. So I open it on the way where I'm coming out of the airport. And I was so excited because it came with this is a blown up image of the card that Chihuly sent me. And I felt so happy. The happiest moment of my life. It also contains this DVD that I believe we had seen in the gift shop. And it was amazing because someone like him who had introduced me to something so amazing, I just couldn't believe it. He took the time to write his name on this. He took the time to send it to me, to put this DVD in it. And it made me so happy. And I hope that someday that happens, not necessarily in glass blowing or something like that, but something like that, for something that you may not have even known was so amazing, happens to each one of you. And I hope that it will make you as happy as it made me.
What are CBEs?
Oh, do you mean BCE? It's a time period.
Hannah?
When did you learn about it?
What?
When did you learn about it?
Oh, 2 years ago? Yeah, about 2 years ago. Because I sent the letter, and then a couple months later, he sent it back to me. And I was in, it was probably in like 4th grade. And it just stuck with me. And, yeah.
Sadie?
When did you start?
When did you start blowing glass?
Not that long ago, I went up to Corning, which is a place in New York. Also, you may have heard of it through Corningware. Your parents may have Corningware dishes, and they offer classes. That's how I made this. Now, I didn't actually shape it or do anything. I just blew into a pipe, which was kind of sad, but I understand. This bead I made through flame working. That is much more hands-on process. I got to melt the rod and attach it to the mandrel and do that. So that was, but I made these pieces at hands-on glass, which I was talking to you about how I blew through one end. I stood on one end of the yoke, and the other woman who was doing the other things did those for me.
I wasn't here for some of this, but did you glass blow all of that?
No. See, this I got at hands-on glass. This, when we went to the Chihuly exhibit, my dad got this. It's not Chihuly, but my dad got this for me, and that was also very exciting. These were the only pieces I made.
Dulcie.
When you grow up, you want to make a lot of glass.
Oh yes, except for there's one problem. Glass blowing is very expensive. You have to buy all the furnaces, then you have to buy all the blowpipes, then you have to buy the punches and the tools and the bench, and you need a place to put this, and you need all the furnaces and the annealer, they run on gas. So you can also go somewhere to blow glass, but flame working is something I'm a little more interested in.
Okay, thank you. I know you'll see Sylvia around the school, so if you have questions further, you can ask her.
What steps you'd have to take to make that happen?
Well, I have a sort of plan. So when I go up to Hershey, there's this place called Locally Blown Glass. Or I guess it's just called Locally Blown. The glass is implied. And I hope to someday go up maybe every couple weekends or weekend or so. I would go up and I would either help move the blowpipes, make sure everything's in the pipe, or do something of that nature. And then eventually, as I get older, I can blow and I can do flame working, and then I can get a degree in fine arts and chemistry, and then I can work my way up to Chihuly.
Another teacher, Mrs. Kendrick.
Sylvia, do you have a particular desire to go into, like, whether it's blowing bowls or art objects or anything in particular that you're looking towards?
Not really. I like ornaments, and I think I could probably get a little more money off of them because you can hang them on your Christmas trees, and you can hang them in your house. So, yeah.
I think it must be feel so special when you get the package from Chihuly, and I'm sure that he gets the mail or letter from a lot of his fans. So I'm interested in what you wrote to make it so special. Do you remember? You put something.
I think it was something along the lines of, "Dear Chihuly, I went to your exhibit and I thought it was so amazing. I someday hope to be a glass blower. Sincerely, Sylvia." Probably better, but it was probably worded better, but I don't know.
As a Montessori student from a very tiny age, you were very much involved in sensorial things, how things feel and taste and smell and whatever. What sensorial aspects of glass appeal to you?
Oh, well, glass is, it's great because you can make it smooth, you can make it very smooth, or you can make it rough, or you can, I don't know, I think it's very easy on the eyes. It's very pleasing to look at. And I think it'd be fun to make.
Ms. Rosiker?
Sylvia, I was very impressed. There are many other countries in the world where glass making is revered, and I wondered if you had thought about travel.
Yeah, well, Chihuly, he does it all over the place. So definitely I could do something, yeah, I'd probably go, like I would do something here, I would get my degree, whatever I plan on doing. And then I might go somewhere where it's done more, or it's very famous. And I would go there, and then I would come back here, and then I would maybe work here some more.
So that's something for you to look up, is where there's a prevalence of glass making in the world. Ms. Kingsley?
I was wondering if you had looked into at all the influences that Chihuly had in his life that led him to what.
What influences did Chihuly have in his life?
Well, after we went to the museum, there was a Chihuly app, and it had it was, you could like blow glass in it, but it said in the intro how he kind of got into it, and he said something along the lines of he melted a window, and he took like, I think, PVC pipe or something, and he dipped it in there and he blew it. And I mean, talk about working with what you've got. But I don't know. I think like me, I think he was just like, this is so amazing. I need to do this, kind of a thing.
Ms. Spencer?
I think too about glass blowing, can just anybody just blow into this? Does it take a lot of body strength? Is there some kind of physical training that you, or stamina that you need to build up to continue being an accomplished glass blower? Or
Well, I like to think I have very strong lungs because I can blow up balloons bigger than my head. But I blew these at the same place, the same amount of glass. The one difference is this glass was hotter. That was it. It was easier to blow because it really doesn't take that much because in Corning it was like ages like 4 and up to blow the glass. So it doesn't really take that much to blow it. It's more of the, you have to keep it rolling and you have to know when you have to put it in the glory hole.
a lot of trial and error?
Yeah, and actually the beginner glass blowers don't usually work with Frit because that way they can put it back in the glass melting furnace in case it breaks.
Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, hi Sylvia. I just wanted to give you information about the place where you can check out glass blowing. It's in Norton, in Virginia, and it's called the Workhouse Center of the Arts. And they have an area there, and you can actually see the artists doing it, and perhaps you can take classes there too.
That's nice. Thank you.
Sylvia, that was awesome. But as you sort of get onto this journey that you've taken on, what obstacles do you expect you're going to have to deal with?
Money. That's the biggest thing I can see in my way because the blowing glass takes, as I said earlier, a lot of money. Probably also a place to work. And I think it's just going to be, I got a book and it said you are guaranteed to get cut and burns and things like that in any profession. You're going to get like some kind of scar at some point, whether it's learning by doing. And I think that's very good, but I'm definitely going to get hurt doing this.
Well, Sylvia, we certainly want to thank you. You've done a wonderful job.